After bullying the creatures on this island, I moved toward my next challenge. The frozen village faded into the distance. The wind howled over the ocean, carrying with it the cold bite of the tundra, though the sea itself remained eerily calm. The battles in the frozen village had been ruthless. The snow bandits with their relentless aggression, the snowman, and the monstrous yeti, whose raw strength had nearly sent me sprawling into the permafrost. Now, my blades had been sharpened by combat, my fists strengthened by adversity. But I knew that beyond this ice-capped island lay something far more dangerous. As I was flying toward the quest marker, I saw it. Rising from the ocean like a fortress of stone, loomed the Marine Fortress. The Marine Fortress was no ordinary island. It was a bastion of order, an unbreakable shield of the world government's might. Thick, impenetrable walls of stone wrapped around it, and atop them, Marines stood guard, their swords sharpened, their movements disciplined. The fortress's main structure was a towering compound with massive doors leading to an ominous chamber. Inside, I could already feel the presence of my next challenge, the Vice Admiral. After a long off-flight with my trusted spin fruit, I finally got to the Marine Fortress. I quickly ran to the quest giver and got my first quest here: defeat 8 of the Chief Petty Officers. The Chief Petty Officers were the first line of defense, seasoned fighters wielding cutlasses with expert precision. They moved in formation, attacking with well-practiced swings meant to corner their foes. But with the faith in my current power level of the magnificent spin fruit, I think to myself, this would be another piece of cake. However, that was far from the reality. My old protocol of clearing mobs doesn't seem to work anymore, and their well-trained slash cut through my yellow body like I was no more than a block of butter. Thus, new problem spurned. The truth splashed cold water onto my face. My fruit was absolutely no gas. So I went back to the jungle, meeting up with everybody's favorite NPC, and started trying my luck. Then the light fruit appeared. Yeah! The fruit itself is a radiant, glowing star, shimmering with golden luminescence, as if the very essence of the sun was trapped within its delicate skin. With my new power bestowed upon me, I started farming it up to its maximum potential, with the first victims being the monkeys on this island. They are no match for the power of the light. Leaving the jungle behind me, I traveled my way to the Marine Fortress, beaming with excitement. Maybe I was a little too excited. I was ready to face those officers again. They stood no chance against my new, shiny fruit. One by one, they fell to the ground and realized that I was not the same person they jumped on earlier, and I had become a force to be reckoned with. Then, the chamber doors creaked open. Inside, standing beneath the dim glow of lanterns, was the Vice Admiral. His triple katana rested in his grip. 3 blades, polished and deadly, their edges gleaming in the light. His presence alone was enough to command respect. Then, he moved, a blur of motion. 3 swords flashed in an intricate dance, slashing through the air and releasing deadly shockwaves. I barely managed to roll aside as the attack split the stone floor where I had stood. He twisted, sending a powerful horizontal slash my way. The Vice Admiral wasn't just a swordsman, he was a master. Every swing had purpose, a flurry of air slashes, but against the power of light, even steel had its limits. Reflection. Kick! Boom! The Vice Admiral crashed into the stone floor. Light ray. A beam of searing energy erupted, cutting through the battlefield in a blinding flash. He braced, steel glowing white-hot as it absorbed the heat. But the force was relentless. Sky beam barrage. From above, a rain of piercing light spears descended. The Vice Admiral fell to one knee, the weight of battle pressing on his shoulders. The fortress was mine.
Alright, check me out.
Bullying the Vice Admiral was fun for a while, especially after what the Marine did to my boy Ace in the OG storyline. And that would be the last punch of mine for the Vice Admiral. For now, just when I was enjoying myself with my achievement and newfound power, a random kiddo that was at least 20 feet tall, covered in oil, appeared in front of me and sent me to the Shadow Realm.
Hey, yo, what the?
I stared in awe and excitement when witnessing an epic battle of lightning, fast, skillful, and powerful high-level players. Now, this was a totally different level from I am currently at, and it only fueled my determination even more.
Wow!
So many strong people. I need to be better.
Okay, let's go outside now!
Hey, that's pretty good.
Leaving the pain and packing up the memories of Ace with me, I headed toward the next island. Clouds, thick as stone, yet impossibly weightless, formed a floating archipelago. Jagged rock formations pierced through the mist, supporting great plateaus where the ruins of an ancient civilization lay scattered. In the distance, floating islands hovered in defiance of gravity, connected by glass bridges that swayed under the weight of the wind. I didn't even know which voodoo magic was employed to make this island into one of the worst islands to farm. Mobs were scattered. The quest givers were at the freaking top of the island.
Oh my god, bro.
This is hell masked itself as the so-called skylands. So I'ma make this brief. Figures moved through the mist. The sky bandits, warriors of the floating kingdom. Their white garments blended with the clouds, but their weapons gleamed, pole arms crackling with raw static, their every movement precise and weightless. Next was the Dark Masters, sorcery of the Skylands. From the depths of the ruins, hooded figures emerged, their faces hidden beneath heavy black robes. Their hands moved in slow, deliberate motions. Then, without warning, they swing their iron maces with no mercy. Maybe these guys are the one who designed this hellhole to be like this. Maybe it's their sadistic nature to torture players with this stupid layout. Maybe that's why it took almost 30 seconds to get from them to the quest givers. I just want to get over this. Finishing the last quest, I speed blitzed the heck away from this godforsaken island. Skyland? More like stupid, floating, annoying island that nobody ever even wants to remember. From afar, I caught a glimpse of the next island. A fortress of stone and iron, a floating prison, cut off from the world, made to hold any deemed enemies of the world government. This was Impel down. The docks were barren, save for the few unfortunate souls who had been dragged here in shackles. Thick iron bars lined the fortress walls, the shadows of prisoners barely visible through the cracks. But the real danger lurked within. Dangerous prisoners roamed the halls. They find unsuspecting visitors, wardens, and even jailmates to vent out their endless stream of anger. The prisoners fought like beasts, wild, unrelenting, their fists hardened by years of captivity. Their movements were unpredictable, their attacks lacking form, but not force. Fighting them was easy. They were clumped up nicely, which make the grind a little bit less painful. But the real threat wasn't the prisoners. It was the men who kept them in line. At the heart of the fortress, 3 figures stood in wait: the warden, the chief warden, and the swan. The first and most common of the 3, the warden was a towering figure clad in dark marine attire, his posture rigid, his grip on his swords unwavering. He had no need for words. His brutal strength spoke for him. The warden was relentless, charging forward with slow, methodical movements. Every step he took felt like an earthquake, every strike meant to break. not just injured. It took me quite a while to get used to his fighting style, yet I prevailed. Beyond the warden stood his superior, the chief warden. He was taller, sharper, his movements more calculated than his British counterpart. His uniform bore a higher rank, his posture filled with authority, his blade gleaming under the dim prison light. Where the warden was a hammer, the chief warden was a blade, sharp, fast, and deadly. Defeating him required not just strength but strategy. In the deepest chamber of the fortress, where the shadows were longest and the iron doors were thickest, stood the Swan. However, it seemed like he was just defeated, so I needed to wait for him to respawn. This wouldn't be long.
1 hour later. 2 hours later. Much later.
A true giant of a man. His presence alone was enough to make the walls feel smaller, the air heavier. Where the warden was strength and the chief warden was skill, the Swan was a combination of both. He fought like an unstoppable force, refusing to go down easily. But, you know who's the hardest to fight between all three of them? Some may think it's the Swan. Some may struggle with the warden himself. But my problems lay in insufferable players who can't farm for themselves or work with me. Guess for now, the best way for me was just solo leveling. And overcoming all the obstacles on my way to become the strongest. But deep down, I wanted to make friends with lots of people and become the world's #1 pirates together. With that in mind, I took off to the next island. The ocean stretched behind me, endless and calm, but ahead, a grand battlefield stood waiting. The Coliseum, a giant stone arena, rose like a sleeping giant from the water. Inside, there was no cheering crowd, no flashing lights, just me, the sand beneath my feet, and the silent promise of a challenge. The first ones to step forward were the Toga warriors. They didn't waste time talking. They dashed in fast, fists swinging, their loose robes flowing behind them. Their movements were sharp, trained. A quick punch to the side, then a high kick aimed for my head. But they were no match for funny yellow Roblox man. That's what I thought, until a cone of ice hit me and absolutely dumpstered me. Then I respawned. Look around looking for the suspect. PvP protection off ready to mingle. But there was no one in sight. I darted around trying to find and fight that one annoying person, but to no avail. So I get back to farming. Until... Some people on the internet, man.
Oh, come on!
Come here, big fella.
What is this weird fella doing?
Stop! Shut up!
You look annoying as hell.
You and your yee-ass character. The only reason you can beat me. Just because I was fighting mobs.
Oh, is it now? 1 versus 1 me scrub.
You sure about that?
Easy!
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Huh?
Get into the Coliseum.
Okay, let's dance.
Kids gon' die tonight!
You and your frozen water fruit. There's no match for my superior light fruit.
Uh-huh.
Low-level scrub.
We'll see about that.
Get your ass back here.
Take that guy with an AK-47! Take this! But I'm not done yet!
Here I come. Here I come.
Gotcha, bitch!
Bro, this is not it.
Hacker!
Bro, stop the coke. You are not doing anything to me. This is getting embarrassing.
Boy, what the hell, boy?
Weren't you blue before? What is this black aura?
This is haki. Haki is a mysterious power that allows individuals to harness their own spiritual energy for various superhuman feats. As this energy manifests from willpower, everybody can manifest it. There are 3 haki types.
Observation haki, which gives the user a sixth sense on the world around them, which allows the user to use their own power and armor to penetrate the attached element and illustrate their also grants multiple cognitive abilities, allowing
Got it?
Bye, have a great time. Hey, yo, what the?
She just info dumped me and left. What now? What to do? There is far more things I don't know about this game than things I do know. So I set my sight on discovering more about this beautiful yet dangerous world. Thus I laid out a plan. During the following days, I shall finish exploring what this first sea has to offer. First, the secret quest of the hidden sword. I make my way back to the jungle, struggling to make sense of her words. She mentioned some things about the switches. I seek far and wide and found 5 hidden buttons scattered around the island. A hole opened in the floor, grabbing the torch and memorizing the poem. I made my way to the desert. As the poem suggested, I marched through the sandy environment to find a half-sunk house, burnt the curtain down with my torch. I stored the treasure cup away, heading toward the frozen village to find the aforementioned leak. Whilst I was at the frozen village, I figured maybe I should somehow improve my abilities as well. That thought took me to the ability teacher, who taught me how to use the air as my stepping stones. Then he widened my power level by guiding me to coat myself and my items in black auras. Finally, the flash step was shown to me as a gap-closing option against slippery opponents. Thanking the master, I make my way to the ice stalactite right across the room. Filling my cup with the water, I headed toward the campsite where I found a sick man dying. He promised me with rewards, but told me to find his son to reap it. I follow suit, eager to figure out where this would lead me.
Boy, what the hell, boy?
How convenient! His son was adorned with an apt name, Rich Man. But somehow, misfortune keeps showering this poor family. Dude got robbed, mugged, absolutely thrashed. And again, he employed my assistance just like his father before him. Making my way to the hidden island of Jean-Luc, beating him up and bringing the money back to the once rich man. He rewarded me with a relic of his family, an heirloom. One can also think. My instincts direct me back to the jungle. I finally found where to slot it.
Easy!
It fits right in, opening an hidden entrance. Inside the hiding spot was the saber expert, resembling an old friend. He fought fiercely, but I was over-leveled and took him out with ease, earning myself a shinny new saber. Engulfed by light, I traveled back to the Coliseum, aiming to level my swordsmanship up. But before I could catch my own breath, the Gladiator stepped up. These guys were different, bigger, stronger, covered in armor that looked way too heavy to move in. They weren't just swinging fists anymore. They had weapons, thick iron swords that gleamed in the sunlight. One of them rushed in, swords raised high. I barely had time to react before the blade came crashing down. He barely even flinched. This fight was going to take a lot more effort, but I won, barely.
Yes, sir.
Heading toward my next destination, the island make itself known to me with the least welcoming high ever, the heat waves. The heat hit me before the island even came into view. A thick wave of warmth, like standing too close to a campfire, except this fire never faded. At the base of the volcano, a small village stood. Simple wooden houses, their roofs covered in ash, as if the volcano had sneezed all over them. It wasn't a peaceful place though. Soldiers patrolled the area, their swords gleaming under the burning sky. Patches of overflowing lava scattered around the island. And it hurts. The military soldiers were the first to attack. They wore dark uniforms, their blades flashing as they rushed forward. They fought with precision, quick strikes, perfect blocks, moving in sync like they had trained together for years. One of them swung low. I jumped back just in time, feeling the blade slice through the air where my legs had been. Another soldier took his place immediately. These guys didn't let up. And then came the military spies. Unlike the soldiers, they didn't rush in all at once. Before I knew it, one was already behind me, a blade swinging toward my back. But I was ready. I kept moving, striking when I saw an opening, dodging their attacks the moment they appeared. One by one, they fell. Until the village finally fell silent again. I tried to farm military spies, over and over again. Until I reached level 350. Then I would take a quest, kill the island lord. A figure stepped forward, standing tall against the burning sky. He was nothing like the others. Clad in a Marine's uniform, he stood confidently on the edge of a molten lava pool, his hands glowing with heat. The air around him shimmered like the very atmosphere was afraid to get too close. A massive fist, made entirely of burning magma, shot toward me. I jumped back, feeling the heat rush past me, countering with my own light skills. If that had hit me, it would have been over. Another attack. The ground cracked apart, glowing red as fiery pillars erupted into the sky. There was barely any space to move. I had to be faster, and faster I am, bursting with light. I fought with the hope that my flashy fighting style would be too hard for him to follow. Ducking and weaving through the chaos, I struck, a punch to his side, a kick aimed at his legs, but he barely flinched. This wasn't going to be an easy fight. The battle raged on, each of his attacks turning the battlefield into a sea of flames. I dodged, countered, pushed forward, refusing to back down. A final, well-placed strike, strong enough to send him staggering. He teetered on the edge of the lava pool before collapsing into the molten abyss below. The ground cooled, the volcano fell silent. Victory. After that, I tried to kill the Magma Admiral 3 times and farmed the military spy's mission. After every 3 military missions, the Magma Admiral appeared once. When I reached level 375, the next island was assigned.
Let's go.
Bursting into a flash of light, I traveled forward. I opened my eyes. An entire city stretched before me, glowing softly under the deep blue sea. Coral-covered towers, ancient stone paths, and fish swimming lazily through the air as if gravity didn't exist. It was like stepping into a lost kingdom. But I wasn't alone. Figures lurked in the shadows, their tridents gleaming. The Fishman warriors attacked first, their bodies moving like water itself. They didn't rush in a straight line. They twisted, dodged, struck from unexpected angles. Fancied by their fighting style, I determined to find and study their art of fighting. Quickly disposed of some more Fishman warriors, I traveled around, looking for anyone that's willing to show me the art of the Fishman's karate. Ancient and calm as the water harboring their island, the master stood secluded in a hidden spot, only made available for those who's willing to risk their time finding the master. Getting to him by itself is a test. My reward was their historical, borderline, ancient martial art. Equipped with the newfound art of destruction, I marched forward. Then came the Fishman commandos, bigger, stronger, and much faster. They struck with incredible force, their tridents slicing through the water with terrifying speed. The fight felt endless. Strike, dodge, counter, over and over. The water made everything heavier, slower, but I couldn't stop. Employing their own strikes against them, I fight my way out of the herd. Finally, the last commando fell. Then, a deep voice rumbled through the city. A towering figure stepped from the castle. The Fishman Lord. His stature frightening, his strikes fast. None of this mattered. My light superior, my fist strikes strong. Duck, weave, flash, distort. All the trick I did, all the pain I endured. The most renowned fighters of the tribe fell prey to my barrage of light. But I grew weary, envy the strength of that weird girl who smacked me up in the Coliseum. I made one of the more questionable decisions to chase that elusive ice fruit. Gambled away my money. I found it.
There we go.
The fruit that humbled me. Without regrets, I bit into it. Ice make it way to my veins. Water particles in the air froze, manifested themselves into a trident worthy of my power. Now up to the ice grind.
What the dog doing? What the dog doing? What the dog doing? What the dog doing? Skipping the button, da da, baba 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 booey, baba baba booey, baba 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 booey, baba baba booey.